and thanks to Ted Heptegabber. If you have not been to Ted's live talks, you can follow him online. And he's really invented a kind of badass, free-roaming university out of thin air. And I think is building a community here in Los Angeles that she does now. But when someone says, I want you to come to my two-woman show where there's no intermission for 90 minutes, and I'm like a 60-year-old woman with a bladder the size of a pea. I'm like, am I going to have to wear a Depends to see your show? And it's my idea of hell, really, to be invited to such an event. And now, this is a true story about this play, and I walked out and I took a breath, and she hit that stage, and it stayed hit for 90 minutes. It was a breathtaking performance. If you get it's going to Broadway, of course. If you get a chance to see it. And the other thing, I'm not going to bury the lead this year, is that her book, Dear Mr. You, which, by the way, was submitted blind. It's not a celebrity memoir. It's a book that arrived naked without Mary-Louise Parker's name on it at a very prestigious publisher, Scribner, a woman who bought my first book, Stan Graham, bought it. And it's now number 5. Okay. Hello up in here. Mary-Louise, Dear Mr. You it's a book of letters, and it's a book that really has its origins in gratitude. Is that the best?
Yeah. Worked every time. And so they would make me stand there by myself, usually in a big skirt, and they'd be like,
You know, I also, it is a book about gratitude, and I loved portraits of your son, of both your children, but of your son, his joie de vivre and his sense of how lucky, at some point he says, I mean, to me it's you and him when he says how lucky he is to be somewhere.
yeah, he has an amazing capacity for, period. He's an amazing capacity for astonishment and for being able to revel in beauty and humor and be amazed. He's amazing capacity to be amazed. And he's a big spirit, but he comes with a lot of big feelings, you know, which are sometimes hard to navigate. And my daughter's, thank God, she's much more reasonable than either of us. And you know, I'm like, let's go on the trampoline naked. Everyone's doing mommy, and it's much more reasonable right now for all of us to wear sweaters. She's like, people can see us over the edge of the She has a sobering influence. And she's just as silly too. She's just as fun. But it was another thing that was hard. One thing that was hard about the book was that there were letters that, you know, that I wanted to write that I didn't. I thought, well, how can I have a book and not have a letter to my friend Hunter, you know, or Love My Whole Heart, or how can I not have a book, you know, to my friend Kay Todd? And sometimes those letters didn't come, and they didn't come for particular reasons. I think because some relationships, so much has been said to one another, and those relationships feel completed to themselves, or there wasn't a moment that I felt I wanted to sort of draw out and point out to. But that was hard. I wanted everyone I loved in it, you know.
I'm trying to favorite. There are many passages in the book. I mean, Mary-Louise was very ill this year. And I don't know if it's reasonable to ask you to read that section. I mean, to me, it's the most dramatic.
I'm freezing. I feel like I'm going to get pneumonia again. Is my coat back here?
Let me get your jacket. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Or give me her jacket.
It goes too quiet in a second. I can't get pneumonia.
Here you go, little bunny.
Thank you so much.
You want my scarf? quite traumatic.
You and your friend Gary drove to the border at dawn to get avocados and figs for the co-op where I worked also. And then you went to the beach if you had no one to rolf. You were a rolfer, too, massaging those lucky people while wearing nothing or your loincloth. Okay, maybe a piece of jewelry was also on your body. You and Gary both had gorgeous, ocean-soaked hair that was longer than mine. Gary had a mane of chestnut that might have made him rich if he'd opened a 7 Stations of the Cross theme park. Your hair was its own Disneyland. It glowed in the dark from salt water and sun. That hair gave you the vibe of being both switched on and overcooked at the same time. You were the only man
But I have the hardest time falling in love with poetry. When did you come to fall in love with poetry?
Such a great question.
I'm such a geek, but I get so excited. But I feel the thing with poetry is that people feel like they have to understand it. And I feel like people go to a poem and they feel like they want to understand it in the way that they understand fiction. And it's not the same. And I think if you think of it almost like listening to music, and the way you don't always hear all the words, but you just let it wash over you. And sometimes it's the rhythm, and sometimes it's you know, the velocity with which the words come out. It can be any part of it, and you can go back and reread it. And it's rare that I read it the first time and I get every single. See, even there's this Andrew Zawecki poem that I feel like I've been reading for years, and I still don't fully digest it, maybe, but I still love it, and it evokes different things in me every time. And you know, there's so many poets to love. You know, James Galvin, Evan Boland, Mark Strand, of course, Charles Simic, Philip Levine. This lady right here has written some. Devil's Tour is incredible. Shut it! No, she's seriously profound. And
Yusef
Komunyaka. Yeah, there's so many. Well, I'm not going to name the ones that you don't like, because then that would be good.
We can mud wrestle up here. We can get it going on.
But I think it's just, there's also some of the